Welcome back to another episode of Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland. Well, it's about that time, people. The NHRA is about ready to get kicked off this weekend at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Winter Nationals, and it's going to be awesome out there in Pomona. We're going to have a lot of great teams, some new teams coming out, some people coming back and getting in rides. It's going to be awesome out there, and you can bet going to have great temperatures, and the track is going to be perfect. But here's some things to look at coming into this year's racing season. When you look at Top Fuel, you're going to have Brittany Force coming out and her Castrol Edge dragster, and I think they're going to really make a dent this year and really show that they have been preparing for an entire year. I think what also helps is that we no longer have that restriction of testing. So they're going to be able to test a little bit more, and I think you can expect to see this team finish in the top 10 this year. Another group of people, new year, fresh start, Alanabi Racing. I mean, we all know they looked like crap last year. Belushi was inconsistent, couldn't cut a light to save his life, and Sean Langdon, a great driver, just didn't have the car underneath them to get the job done. But you can bet that they're going to come back out and really give DSR a run for their money. But you know DSR, all three of those cars are going to be right there at the top. But Alanabi, I think, is going to be a different beast this year. They should be a little bit more consistent with the testing as we discussed. They should have a little bit more ability to get that edge over DSR and catapult themselves to get a championship. They're at least going to be right there. Now, another surprise, I'm going to say, is a guy by the name of Larry Dixon. Larry Dixon is going to be able to come out and get in this race car, and they're only going to race a few races here, but they're going to be racing overseas as well. And I think with a couple of doing that, being able to test, these guys are going to try to make a dent. And I think they're going to pick up more races if they do well starting early in this season, and they can just kind of sneak into the countdown. But that's my sleeper pick there. I think that guy's going to come in and at least get in the top 10, maybe even further if they can develop some kind of consistency coming out early. Now, in funny car, I think you're going to see the boss, the big boss, and you know who I'm talking about, John Force, finally get focused and get back to his championship winning ways. Now, he may not win the championship this year, but he's definitely going to be a lot better than he was last year in the years previous. I think he's going to be a lot more focused with that brain trust being a lot more tight-knit, and they're getting things in order. And I think you see a different driver in John Force this year. Now, my sleeper team, Alexis DeJoria. That's right. That Patron car is going to be flying this year. With Tommy Delago tuning the wrenches over there, making the calls, you seen what he's done with Matt Hagan. Yes, he's a qualifying queen, and he always runs the big numbers in qualifying, but every now and then, they hit that home run and develop that consistency throughout race day. And I think you'll see that this year. Even in Matt Hagan's championship runs and coming close to winning a championship, even though they were qualifying queens and they may not have had that hot weather tune-up, they still were able to be right there, second, third, fourth, right there, a fish hook and a reel in away from winning a championship. So I think you're going to see her step up to another level and really be competing. I think she's going to be in the top 3 this year and possibly contending for a Mellow Yellow championship. Now, in Pro Stock, everybody knows Vincent Nobile is a beast when it comes to being on the tree. I think he's going to be a much improved guy along with Jeg Coughlin. That's right, Jeggy. Now, he did come back last year. He was a little bit sluggish and didn't look very good. I think going from that Chevy to that Dodge was a little bit different for them. The setup was a little bit different, and it just seemed like they were always behind the 8 ball all year long. Just never could get it going. But I think this year they're going to be right there, right at the top, competing like they always have been, and he's going to be right there in the running for that championship and challenging, Greg Anderson. So I hope, please, that somebody other than Greg Anderson can win this championship again this year. Okay? Now, one more class that we're going to discuss here, and that's Pro Stock Bike. We all know the Harleys have been dominating, and they've been dominating for the past year, 2 years, whatever. I'm quite tired of seeing Harleys dominate. But I think this year, the Suzukis will get it right. They'll finally be able to get over the hump. Guys being able to test a little bit more, getting in there. I think Ellie Tonglet is going to have an opportunity to kind of muster his way back in and be able to kind of push these Harleys a little bit. But you can't knock them. These guys are very consistent, and I expect them to be right at the top, possibly contending for a championship, and they'll probably win one. Just don't know who. It could be either one of those guys, but I think they're going to win a championship again this year. They're just going to be too much. Well, that's it for our show. We thank you for tuning in. And before we close, I want to give a special congratulations to a Dave Reef. Congratulations to getting into the booth with Mike Dunn. You're going to do great. We love you. Now, if you always comment on our show, tell us what you don't like, what you like. If you have a topic you'd like to see discussed on this show, shoot us an email at straightshootingst@gmail.com. And always, subscribe to the show. Well, you've been watching Straight Shooting Sports Talk.